Muscle contraction. Structure of skeletal muscles. Describe the structure of skeletal muscles. What is the ultrastructure of a myofibril? How are actin and myosin arranged in a myofibril? So there are three types of muscle. There's cardiac muscle, which is found only in the heart. There's smooth muscle, which is found in the walls of blood vessels and lining the gut. But neither of those are under conscious control. They are involuntary, so we're mostly unaware that they are contracting. Skeletal muscle, on the other hand, is basically the bulk of the body muscle in vertebrates is skeletal muscle, and it is attached to bone and acts under voluntary or conscious control. So it's the structure of the skeletal muscle that we're going to focus on. So skeletal muscles are made up of large bundles of long cells called muscle fibres. So this here is a muscle fibre, this bundle of cells, and the cell membrane is called the sarcolemma. So the cell membrane of the muscle fibre is called the sarcolemma. And bits of the sarcolemma fold inwards. So you can see here. And across the muscle fibre and stick into the sarcoplasm, which is the muscle cell cytoplasm. And these folds are called transverse T-tubules, and what they do is they help to spread electrical impulses throughout the sarcoplasm so that they reach all parts of the muscle fibre. So there is a network of internal membranes called the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which runs through the sarcoplasm. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum contains the calcium ions which are needed for muscle contraction. So muscle fibres have lots of mitochondria to provide ATP for contraction. So you can see a mitochondria there. They also have, they're multinucleate, which means they have lots of more than one nucleus. And they have lots of long cylindrical myofibrils, which are made up of proteins and are specialised especially for muscle contraction. So myofibrils now. So myofibrils contain bundles of thick myosin and thin actin. So thick and thin myofilaments that can move past each other to make the muscle contract. So the thick myofilaments are made up of the thick myofilaments are made up of the protein myosin, whereas the thin myofilaments are made of the protein actin. So thick myosin, thin actin. So if you were to look at the myofibril under an electron microscope, you'd see a pattern of alternating dark and light bands. So it kind of looks striped under the microscope. And the dark bands contain the thick myosin filaments and also a bit of overlapping thin actin filaments. So together they make the A band. So the A band has the thick myosin and a bit of overlapping actin. So that's the A band. And the light bands contain the thin actin only. So this would be the light or I band. So myofibrils are made up of many short units called sarcomeres, and the end of each sarcomere is marked with a Z line. And in the middle of the Z line, in the middle of the sarcomere is an M line, which is in the middle of the myosin filament. So you've got Z lines here which show one sarcomere to the next, and then the M line is right in the middle of the myosin filaments. And then around the M line is the H zone, which is made up of myosin only, which is just thick filaments.